check out the Masimo mini Jeep. I don't think it's even four-wheel drive, but no matter, a kid would love this thing. And then of course, if you want to get some serious farm work done, they've got the Masimo mini tractor. This is awesome. Well, actually I just left Discount Tire. These Yokohamas are 10-ply rated tires, load range E, which is what came on this Super Duty truck. And for some reason they refused to mount them up for me. They're a 33-inch tire, which is kind of what's on this truck now. They're the same load range as what's on this truck now. I don't know. They said that it wasn't a heavy-duty enough tire for the truck. First time in my life I've ever heard that. So I'm gonna head over to another shop, see if I have any luck over here, and if not, I'll just go back to my hometown, because I know them good old boys down there will mount them up for me, no questions asked. So Discount Tire corporate is gonna get an email this afternoon, but in the meantime I just got to find somebody that'll mount these tires up for me. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to try and speak up a little bit because it's loud in here, but that particular Discount Tire store that I just left agreed to go ahead and mount these tires up for me, which they should have, because these tires are plenty strong enough to hold this F-250. So anyway, got the tires on. I'm headed down the road now, and I'm going to show you some close-up footage of these in just a little bit, and how the offset looks on this truck and all that. We'll get to that in just a minute, but first, picking back up where I left off, some impressions of this tire. Like I said, these have about 30,000 miles on them now. They balanced out great. You know, I'm up to 55 miles an hour right now, and the tires are rolling smooth down the road. You know, so Yokohama tires generally are really high quality tires, and you know, these are no different. They balanced out pretty well, so everything is riding good. Now they do have road noise. I had them turn the tires around the other direction from how they were run on the last truck these tires were on. I thought that would kind of even the tread out even better. So you know, these XATs have a different design on each side of the sidewall. So there was one particular design that we had run facing outward on both of the previous trucks that these tires were on. This time I had them turn the tires around and put the other design out. So anyway, flipping the tire like that is one of the reasons why there's a little bit of noise in here. It's just like when you cross rotate your tires, you get a little bit more noise because the tread blocks wear in a certain way when you use the tire in a certain orientation on the truck, right? But having said all that, there is a little bit of a tire noise. It's not loud, it's not a roar, but you can hear them humming going down the road. So these XATs, being an aggressive tire, definitely make more noise than your typical factory tire, but again, it's not bad. I'm happy that they roll smooth. One thing I can tell, they feel stiffer, even though it's the same load rating as the factory tire. They actually feel a little bit stiffer and more firm. So the ride has gotten a little bit firmer, but that's not a big deal either on a heavy duty truck. So all in all, doing good so far. Like I said, we're gonna run these for a while, see how many more miles we can get out of them, and see how they perform throughout the winter weather. Now let me get out. I'm going to pull over here and get out and kind of show you how this plus 12 offset looks on one of these Super Duty trucks. And by the way, I apologize for the glare. I'm facing the sun, and I got the visor down in the truck, so you probably can't see my face very well, but it is what it is. Winter time, got those really bad sun angles that'll blind you if you're not careful. So anyway, here's what they look like. So I thought this was kind of interesting. This is the factory tire, obviously, and it was the optional 275/70/18 size that you could get on these Super Duty trucks. And this is a 33/1250 tire. And you can see how much shorter the 33 is than the factory tire. And this factory tire, as you can see, is still mounted on the wheel, still inflated and everything. And look at that. That's a pretty substantial difference. So the factory 275/70 Goodyear tires that come on these trucks, from my experience, they're actually about the same diameter as a 35/1250. So if you wanted to match up diameter, you would actually have to get a 35-inch tire for these trucks, because the factory tires are actually pretty tall. I just thought that was neat. I finally made it back home, so let's take a look. Now, these are 18/9 wheels, and they have a positive 12mm offset. I may have misspoke earlier, but they are a positive 12 offset. So basically, these wheels are 9 inches wide, and they've got a 5.5-inch backspace. And this is kind of how they sit on the truck. Now, obviously, I've got that wheel turned, but I think you can kind of see that the wheels don't stick out, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the side walls of the tires to be flush with the fenders. Maybe just a little bit of poke, but not bad. And the plus 12 on these Super Duties is perfect. As far as how they look, I think they're all right. In the sunlight, it doesn't look too bad. And again, you can kind of see that pattern I was talking about in the last video. Just kind of reminds me a little bit of that design in those hubcap, those wheel covers from back in the 1980s. So yeah, I think it's pretty nice looking, but more importantly, these wheels are wide enough to be functional and allow these tires to operate correctly. Something I thought was pretty cool about these wheels, I didn't know this until I left the tire shop, but you have these center caps that are bolt-on, and they stick out a little bit farther. Some guys like that look, but they also come with these shorter center caps that are snap-in. So if you wanted to, you could use these and just snap them on there, and like I said, then it wouldn't stick out as far. I might put these on there and see what they look like, but you've got a couple of options. And where they put the valve stem is down here in one of these areas where you've got a little bit of a guard. So you've got some protection for your valve stem, which is kind of nice, but it's just a pretty good looking wheel. Here's that tread design I was talking about that I put facing out this time. This side wall of the tires was facing in for the first 30,000 miles. So the second half of these tires' life, I'm going to run this side out, and that'll just kind of help the tread to wear, hopefully wear longer and get maximum tread life out of them. So there's what the tread looks like. Again, for those of you who didn't see the video the other day, let me go put a gauge on these and we'll see where the tread actually is so that we can mark our progress. So I've tried to put the gauge as close to the center of the tread as I could. I'm reading about 11 seconds right there. Now, if I move it over here, directly in the center of the tread, I'm getting about 9 seconds, and out here I'm getting about 14 almost. So what that tells me is that in the past, this tire has been run with too much pressure in it, because you've got more wear down the center of the tread than you see outside, and that's not what you normally want. Usually that indicates that the tire's been run at too high of pressure. But so I kind of moved it in between. Here's the center over here, here's the outer. So I kind of moved it in between to get an average, and it's coming up about 11 seconds. And these tires are listed at 19 seconds when they're brand new. So, you know, we'll figure they've worn down about 8 seconds in 30,000 miles or so. Again, they've always been on full-size diesel trucks. They've been on 3 separate trucks now, and every one of them heavy-duty diesel, or in one case a light, 1500 diesel, but that's still a fairly heavy, powerful truck. So, they're getting hard usage. So So I guess all in all, it's not too bad, but we'll keep monitoring these and I'll give you periodic updates and we'll see how many miles they will go. And like I said, I'm also very curious to see how they're going to perform in the rain and the snow and the bad weather on a truck like this. You know, will they grip as well as the Falcon tires that I'm used to? Well, they certainly can't be any worse than the Goodyear tires that I've had, so we'll find out soon enough. I do think it's kind of interesting though how much taller the factory tires are than these 33 1250s. You know, they kind of advertise those optional factory tires as 33s, but like I just said, really they're not. They're quite a bit taller than a 33, as I just showed you. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you've got one of these Super Duties with the 275/70 18 tires on there, and you decide to go with something aftermarket, you're gonna have to buy at least a 35-inch equivalent to kind of end up, you know, where you were to start with. I did notice, because I used GPS to check it, the speedometer is off now. Because these tires are shorter, the speedometer is reading a little bit inaccurately, and basically it's showing that I'm going faster than I really am, which means that probably the odometer is counting miles faster than actual, and that's not good. It's not a big discrepancy, something like 6% maybe, 5 or 6%, but over time that'll add up. I don't think it'll be a big deal because these tires, you know, they're maybe a little over halfway through their lifespan, so they won't be on the truck for all that long. So in the end, it won't be a big deal. But anyway, just something I wanted to mention. So, you know, a lot of guys might not think about that, but there's a pretty big difference in diameter between the stockers and these. So more updates coming soon. I guess that's about all I got for now. Just kind of wanted to show you what they look like. You know, it's one of those things where there's so many tire and wheel combos out there, and a lot of guys just kind of wonder, you know, what's it actually going to look like? What is this offset and this size, you know, going to look like on the truck? So there you go, 33 1250 on a 9-inch wheel with a +12 offset. That's what she looks like. Maybe it'll help somebody, who knows. I got to go get some things done, but we will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.